Hi, I'm Sinead Fox-Hamilton and I'm a self-confessed, super proud chartered accountant. And today I really want to demystify the career and tell you what it's actually like and what is involved. So first things first, I want to debunk that long-standing myth that it's a boring career choice for introverts and maths nerds. Now, if I'm honest, that's what I thought, so I'm super thankful that I fell into the career by luck, and I really wish I would have just known more about the reality of the profession. In terms of my own journey, I did a law degree and then I trained in a Big Four professional services firm. And since qualifying as a chartered accountant, I have had a really diverse career. I've worked in commercial accounting for an aircraft manufacturing company, in banking, looking after business customers, and as a specialist finance recruiter. And now I work for Chartered Accountants Ireland, showcasing the profession and supporting our community with training and career development. So a pretty non-traditional and varied background, but that means I have a great handle on some of the things that can cause the most confusion about the profession. And that being the case, I thought I would answer some of the most common chartered accountancy FAQs for you. What is a chartered accountant? To keep it super simple, chartered accountants are business leaders. They work worldwide across all sectors in both traditional roles, so finance and accounting related, and in non-traditional roles, which might surprise you. So general management, operations, sales, marketing, IT, HR, you name it. In terms of key skills, chartered accountants are problem solvers, critical thinkers, decision makers, and influencers. They're really difference makers who make a positive impact across all markets and the globe. To become a chartered accountant, you need to complete the ACA Professional Accounting Programme. The ACA qualification is a massively respected and internationally recognised credential. It is a great CV booster and highly sought after by employers, which is fab. And if you aren't aware, ACA stands for Associate Chartered Accountant, and after 10 years you graduate to an FCA, which stands for Fellow Chartered Accountant. Just so you are aware, as it can be super confusing, there are actually different brands of professional accounting qualifications. If you want to benefit from the prestigious Chartered Accountant title, then you join the community and choose to study the ACA qualification. Who is Chartered Accountants Ireland? Chartered Accountants Ireland is a professional education and membership body. They are the longest established and largest professional accounting body here in Ireland. They are educators in that they deliver the ACA qualification across the island of Ireland, and they are a membership body in that they support their qualified chartered accountant members with their lifelong career journeys. And it's pretty cool to have that belonging to an institute. And there are so many services and resources to avail from, lots of events and opportunities to connect with other ACA students and chartered accountant members. Chartered Accountants Ireland is also part of Chartered Accountants Worldwide, which brings together sister ACA bodies right across the globe. So those who complete the ACA programme here in Ireland with Chartered Accountants Ireland get the benefit of being part of the exclusive international Chartered Accountancy Business Network too. Is the Chartered Accountants Ireland qualification recognised internationally? Yes, absolutely. It is not just a qualification for Ireland. The ACA qualification is an internationally recognised and respected business leadership credential. Chartered Accountants Ireland members, they are working right across the globe. About 15% of the membership are working abroad. So popular hotspots include the likes of America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Dubai, Bahamas, Singapore, just to name a few. Chartered Accountants Ireland is actually a member of Chartered Accountants Worldwide, and then you become part of that global network of over 1.8 million members and students. And the Institute also has mutual recognition agreements with other bodies, making the qualification truly global. Many members describe it as a passport, in both travel terms and in terms of career variety. What is involved in training as a chartered accountant? To train as a chartered accountant, you must complete the ACA programme, and that consists of two parts. The first is the academic studies. So there are 3 levels to the ACA programme, and how many you complete depends on your previous education. I completed all 3 because I came from an unrelated background, having studied a law degree, so then it took me 3 years to complete, as each level is taught over an academic year. Now, if I had come from a related background, like accounting, finance, business, I may have had a reduced number of subjects or even academic years to complete. Part 2 then is the work experience. To qualify, you also need to get exposure to accounting and finance practical work experience and have that signed off by accredited professionals. The length needed depends on your background, but it's typically 3.5 years on average. And the typical model is that students work full-time and complete the study piece in their own time, evenings and weekends. And completing both the study and the work experience elements successfully will allow you to qualify as a chartered accountant and admit to membership. Do you need to come from an accountancy, finance or business background to study chartered accountancy? No, you can come from any subject background and train as a chartered accountant. The minimum previous education eligibility criteria is having a degree in any subject or an Accounting Technicians Ireland qualification. Basically, if you happen to come from a related background, you might get the benefit of skipping past some of the ACA professional exams because you've already covered that content in your previous education. So you would get exemptions or credits to skip past some of the subjects or even levels. If you come from an unrelated background, like I did, it just means that you start at the base level of the ACA programme, and that is designed to cover all the fundamentals for those coming to it brand new. Students enter the ACA programme from all sorts of backgrounds: law like me, engineering, science, music, IT, HR, geography, medicine, you name it. It's just the starting point that will be dictated by your previous education. And employers, well, they actually tend to actively hire a mix of skill sets, and it can add lots of value and diversity to their teams. What are exemptions? Well, exemptions are basically credits. If you have studied content in your previous education that is the same as content in the ACA programme, Chartered Accountants Ireland will give you exemptions from studying the overlapping subjects in question. Chartered Accountants Ireland is pretty strict with offering exemptions, it's fair to say. They will only offer them if the student has covered all of the content, and that is in the student's interest. The programme is a building block model, so level 2 builds on level 1, etc. So chartered accountants will only award exemptions when it is clear that students have covered the relevant content in full before, and it's really all about setting students up for success. Do you need a degree to train as a chartered accountant? No, you do not need a degree to enter the ACA programme. The graduate entry route is hugely popular, and you can come from any degree subject, not just accounting, but it is not the only option. You can also study with Accounting Technicians Ireland and then enter the ACA programme. And lots of students now are entering also via apprenticeship pathways. What is the flexible route and what is a training contract? Basically, there are 2 training pathways to qualification with Chartered Accountants Ireland. With both, you go through the same programme. So the classes are the same, you sit the same exams, the work experience requirements are the same, and ultimately you get the same ACA qualification, but the training journey can differ. So let's take the training contract pathway. With the training contract pathway, there is an official agreement between Chartered Accountants Ireland, an employer, and the student. Chartered Accountants Ireland's job is to deliver the ACA education piece and support the students with that. The employer's obligation is to sponsor the student through their journey, pay the training fees, give exposure to the relevant work experience that you need and pay you for that, give you study leave and support you with your journey. The student's responsibility then is to bring their best selves to the study and work elements and to complete their training in full with the sponsoring employer they have signed the agreement with. In terms of completing the programme, there is a structured approach to the completion. Each level is completed one after the other and runs simultaneously with the work experience element. It's a really popular way to train and very common in the market and will often be attached to graduate schemes. Let's look at the flexible route pathway. With this, there is no formal three-way agreement between Chartered Accountants Ireland, an employer and the student. The student is directly registered with Chartered Accountants Ireland. However, lots of students are still sponsored by employers in the background. Chartered Accountants Ireland are just not formally involved in that equation. Any sponsorship terms are agreed between the student and the employer, so this could mean full or even partial support. Ultimately, it is up to the student to take active ownership of their journey. For example, they take the lead in terms of completing the relevant course administration and ensuring they get the work experience requirements met. They are in the driving seat. The flexible route pathway also accommodates independent students, so those self-funding their own tuition. The other thing that the flexible route pathway allows is the ability to have flexibility with the programme completion journey. So students have 8 years in which to gather the relevant experience and complete their studies. Both elements don't need to run concurrently. You can actually start the ACA studies before gaining relevant work experience, and students can also break down the levels and do the course on a piecemeal basis over an extended time frame. What do you study in the academic course? With Chartered Accountants Ireland, their ACA programme has 3 levels maximum. And remember, you perhaps get to bypass some subjects or even levels depending on your prior education. Level 1 is called CAP 1, so Chartered Accountancy Proficiency 1, and there are 5 subjects: finance, financial accounting, management accounting, tax and law. So there are 4 end-of-year exams and law is actually examined during the year. Level 2 then is called CAP 2, Chartered Accountancy Proficiency 2, and there are 4 subjects: audit and assurance, strategic finance and management accounting, financial reporting and tax. So then there are 4 end-of-year exams. Level 3 is called FAE, Final Admitting Exams, and there are 2 subjects, core and elective. Everybody does core, which is a culmination of the subject areas covered in CAP 1 and CAP 2, and then you choose 1 elective paper from advanced auditing and assurance, advanced taxation, advisory, financial services or public sector, and there are 2 end-of-year exams then. Various subjects will also include an interim assessment during the year to give you an opportunity to bank some marks towards the year-end result. The syllabus is always evolving to ensure students gain the relevant knowledge demanded by the market and develop the skills that employers want. The FAE level has lots of particularly interesting and commercial topics woven in, including sustainability, lots on emerging technology, so artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, blockchain, cryptocurrency. With the variety of subjects covered, it just means that students can train and work in any sector. How is the course delivered? The education course is delivered and examined online, so everything is easily accessible. The content includes a mix of live lectures, recorded sessions and reading elements. Chartered Accountants Ireland are the educator and the examiner, which is pretty unique and makes it really simple because you don't have to worry about finding your own tuition provider. Everything is done in-house, so it's all nicely joined up. And it's perhaps worth mentioning that the Chartered Accountants Ireland pass rates are the highest in the market. Stats have shown that more students will qualify faster with Chartered Accountants Ireland than with other bodies. Chartered Accountants Ireland put these results down to a mix of things. In particular, high standards of tuition and quality student supports. They are keen to set students up for success and get them qualified in the quickest time possible. What are the study fees? Chartered Accountants Ireland have a single fee for each study level. It covers all costs associated with the education. It includes textbooks, course materials, access to the online resources and the exam. If you're completing the programme via the training contract pathway, fees are paid in full by the employer. For the flexible route pathway students, they pay the fees directly upon enrolment, but they only pay for what subjects they are taking that year. Fees are priced per subject, which is great. Lots of flexible route students are also sponsored by employers in full or part. We don't mandate that employer sponsorship terms with the flexible route, so the student and employer sort the terms between themselves. And just to flag, there is also an interest-free instalment payment plan for flexible route students too. All the specifics and details are on the Chartered Accountants Ireland website. How long will it take me to qualify? Training contract student journeys are regimented, and the work experience quorum, which depends on a student's background, dictates the training contract length. So it will typically be 3 to 4 years. Flexible route students have the same work experience quorums, but they have the option to take up to 8 years to qualify. So they have the flexibility with their journey timelines, whereas in the training contract, they are pre-set. It's maybe also worth mentioning that in some specific instances, prior work experience can be used to reduce the work experience quorum required. The Chartered Accountants Ireland website has the details, or the team are always happy to chat through this. How do I train with Chartered Accountants Ireland? Chartered Accountants Ireland is the academic institution. For all employment aspects, you deal directly with employers. So to secure a sponsored training role, you apply directly to employers offering such. Training contracts will have sponsorship built in as standard, and you'll apply directly to those employers offering trainee chartered accountant roles. They will then guide you on how to enrol with Chartered Accountants Ireland for the study element of your training. Some students studying with Chartered Accountants Ireland via the flexible route will also be sponsored. It's just not mandated by Chartered Accountants Ireland. Securing the employment element is up to the student. While you can independently study with Chartered Accountants Ireland and self-fund via the flexible route, you will still need to complete the relevant work experience. That is half of the ACA qualification, and that is up to the student to secure. Employers will advertise directly on jobs boards, their websites, social media, at careers fairs, and also on the Chartered Accountants Ireland website. There is a training vacancies page which lists opportunities. However, it is not exhaustive, as some employers will just use their own direct channels. Roles are advertised throughout the year, but be mindful there is only one academic year, so you can onboard into the ACA programme every autumn, and enrolment happens every summer. You can also add the ACA programme study onto any accounting or finance role, so it can be bolted on to an existing role. It doesn't need to be a designated training role. Many individuals will approach their existing employer or even a new employer, perhaps even during a recruitment process, and ask for sponsorship, and often the employers are only too happy to support. Employers do really value staff interested in upskilling and training. What is involved in the Chartered Accountants Ireland enrolment process? In terms of enrolling onto the ACA education programme, you do this online. And there are two distinct steps. The first one, the application and registration. The student, regardless of training pathway, sets up an account on the Chartered Accountants Ireland website and submits their details for an eligibility and exemption check. This then confirms if they meet the eligibility requirements to start the programme, and the team will assess the starting point and how many exemptions the candidate might have. You will need to provide information and some supporting evidence on your prior education and qualifications. This process is free of charge and comes with no obligation to enrol. Part 2 then is the formal enrolment onto the ACA programme and specific subjects. If you are a training contract student, this is done by the employer. We do ask students, though, to take an active role in making sure this is actioned. For those studying via the flexible route, those students complete the Part 2 enrolment step themselves. The student selects the relevant subjects and formally enrolls into each, and card payment is triggered at that point. What is the closing date to enrol? The annual enrolment deadline is generally mid-September. The specific date will always be on the Chartered Accountants Ireland website. The academic year runs from autumn to spring-summer, and then it's exam season. So with classes kicking off in September-October, all enrolment needs completed ahead of that. Completing the enrolment process does have a few steps, so it's really important to leave good time to get through everything. The recommendation is to action the relevant registration and enrolment steps during the summer, so in July and August ideally. I hope that answers any questions you were curious about in terms of Chartered Accountancy and the ACA qualification here in Ireland. If you have any further queries, feel free to reach out to myself or to the team at Chartered Accountants Ireland. We are always happy to help.